Hello everybody, welcome to part 5 of our series of screencasts which guide you through the development of your desk lamp. Today we're going to look at Workplanes and we are going to cut a hole through both of our poles which will allow our bolt and our wing nut to then be attached. And then later on we're going to look at adding constraints to this so that this arm will actually move whilst everything else stays solid. But that'll be coming a little bit later. Now at this stage you should have your 4 parts drawn out similar to what I've got on the screen, and you should have brought in a wing nut and a M6 16mm bolt from the McMaster car component library. Okay, we'll talk about positioning of those later on. For now I'm going to turn off the visibility of those just so I have my desk lamp as is. And what we're going to talk about today is work planes. Now a work plane is basically the surface that you are drawing on at any time. So previously we've always needed to just draw on a flat work plane. So whenever we do new sketch and we click on a face, you can imagine we're telling the software that we want to put a piece of paper down there to draw in 2D on there, and then we would do a 3D manipulation of that. Now to draw a hole through the side of this, we actually need a work plane on that surface. So it's a flat piece of paper, if you like, but it's touching the edge of this cylinder. That's the way we're going to do it this time. You could say that we could actually draw on this face here and just have a 2D work plane and then cut either side of it. That's also one way to do it. But as you know, with CAD software, there's often more than one approach. And we're going to use this as an opportunity to teach you a new skill. So when we're adding work planes or creating our own, if it's not on a flat 2D face, we sometimes might need to create our own. If it's not on a flat 2D face like this and we want to draw onto a curved face, we can use this construct area here, and we have a whole array of different types of work face. So this is one offset, so we can offset it if we want it to not be in contact with the body that we're working on. We can have plane at an angle. We can also have a tangent. That's the one we're going to use now. So select the cylinder or cone that the plane will be tangent to. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to click on this. Whenever this comes up, always just press capture position. And then we're going to click onto this here. And now you can see it's adding a work plane on there, but that viewpoint isn't very clear. So we're going to have a look at it from this perspective. And we're going to rotate it around. You can see it rotate because we want to draw on the side of it this way because we want our hole to go through here. And then I'm going to press OK. And as you'll see now, if I use the shift button and the mouse, I've got a new work plane now on, which is tangent to that cylinder. Okay. And now I'm going to say new sketch on that plane there. And so what we are now able to do, we're able to draw on this surface. So I'm going to press C for circle, and I'm going to draw a circle. In fact, before I do that, because I want it to be quite accurate, I'm going to start drawing some construction lines in. So I'm going to press line, and the X button on your keyboard turns it into a construction line. Another way to do it is you can go here, and it used to be in this drop down. Maybe I'm not seeing it, but whenever you go sketch, you can use these tools here. But to make a construction line, you can toggle X and that will turn it on and off, as you can see there. So I'm going to make a construction line now. And what I want to do is I want to actually use the lines from this part on my new sketch, but they're not coming through. So before I do that, I'm actually going to do a project geometry again. So I'm going to press S on my keyboard to search. I'm going to go project. And I'm going to click this button here. And I want to project that line, and that line onto my sketch. So I've now projected them across, and now I'll be able to use those lines to help me with my drawing. And as you can see, because I had the construction line button pressed, they've come through as dotted lines. Okay, so I'm going to just use the look at tool to look at that face, so it's clearly in that perspective now. And then I'm going to use the line tool. I'm just going to reactivate the sketch there. I'm going to use the line tool, and now it'll toggle and it'll lock onto the center point of those lines. And I can see that construction isn't activated yet, so I'll press X now. and see if it'll come to life. And it hasn't. That's quite a common thing. If you've drawn a line and you want it to be a construction line, you can just click the line and then press X, and it will also toggle in between the two. So if you ever have that, you can just change the line to a construction line afterwards as well. And then I'm going to do again a line, but I want it to catch the middle of this line here, and where it locks onto with that triangle symbol, that's where it's done that. So now I've got the exact center point of this point. So it gives me a reference point to put the hole in. Now, if we look at this part here, I want it to be halfway up that point as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a project again. I've just changed my mind as I'm developing this, which sometimes happens. We can simply do another projection. I'm going to take that line this time. I'm going to say OK, and now I can use the center point of this line. So I've got my line tool again. I'm going to turn construction on, and I'm going to wait until it locks onto the center of this line now and bring that across. I don't really mind where that goes because all I'm after at this stage is that cross point. So now I can go C for circle. I can draw my circle in, and because we use the 6mm diameter nut, I'm going to make this 7mm so it fits through quite nicely. I'm going to press return. And as you can see, we have a construction line here, but I actually don't want that one to be a construction line. So I'm going to click the line and press X. Now we have it as a solid line, and I can print it. I can press finish sketch now. So we've then used a series of projections from our previous components to help us get to the center point that we want. And then we're going to cut a hole straight through. So I'm going to press X now. Sorry, E for extrude. I'm going to click this. I'm going to drag it all the way through. I'm going to say cut. And it's important not to drag this too far through the other side, because if you've got anything floating around, like these aren't in the way, the cut will actually impact those things as well. So you just want to be careful with that. I'm going to rotate, I'm going to press OK. And now I have a clear hole cut through all of those components in the exact position that I want them. Okay. And that is all for today. So we've looked at there the use of using a tangent plane. We've looked at using the project tool to project geometry to help us develop construction lines for positioning where we want things. And then we've cut a circle through our components there. Ready? Now if I go look at all, I press here, you can see I've got that hole through at the correct angle that I wanted it. Okay. Thank you very much, and see you next time.